Dave Cicchini joins us now. Wow, 49 points last year against Colgate. You and I had talked. You didn't know what kind of defense they were going to come out with because you knew they weren't going to do the same things as last year. 48 points here today. I mean, and it wasn't necessarily the defense helped with a couple of picks, but it was a lot on the offense moving the ball. This offense has been dynamic all year, hasn't it, Coach?
Yeah, the special group of guys, and again, we talked about it throughout the year. They just got more and more confident with the schemes. Ralph being back for his second year, obviously, he just understood the offense that much better and had more confidence and develop relationships. Newcomers like Nate Anderson, it took a couple of weeks to really develop that chemistry, and you saw a bunch of players really mature throughout the year. Guys like Tariq Thomas, who started the first couple of games, just maybe getting 5 or 6 snaps, and by the end he was a featured running back. And so a lot of growth throughout the season, and a testament to how our guys were able to be resilient. And despite looking at the offensive stats, you could look at that and say, boy, it must have been an easy day for the Bison, and it wasn't. We had to go out and earn just about that, and we needed to call on the offense time and time again, particularly in the second half there to protect that lead, and they answered.
But the defense came up big too. I mean, got those picks and then also a big third down stop. Defense played better this second half of the year, didn't it?
Oh, no question. And they played some of their best football at critical moments. And I think again today was a little bit like that. We gave up some explosive plays, and certainly credit to Colgate and what they did scheme wise and throwing the ball and getting in some explosive situations. But when it came down to those critical plays in that second half, we stood up and got the turnovers or made the fourth down stops.
Talked with two seniors here a moment ago in Rucker and in Rooney. What about that senior class? You and I talked earlier in our Guys Senior pregame show about how important it was. After this game, you probably feel the same, if not even more, impressed with this senior class, right?
Yeah, unbelievably grateful. They when they came in, it was about the youngest Bison football team in a long time, maybe ever. In terms of just our numbers, we're really thin in terms of senior leadership, and even juniors. We had more freshmen than seniors and juniors combined at that particular time. And we took our lookings. We had a 1-win season, and physically we were dominated because it just happened to coincide with the COVID extra year of eligibility. So we're playing all these teams who have got more 23 and 24-year-olds on their football team than ever before, and we're lining up with 18 and 19-year-olds. And it could have been so easy for them at the end of the year saying, hey, it's a 1-win season. We took our lumps. I'm going to hit the transfer portal. The NCAA makes it so easy now just to go see if the grass is greener on the other side of the fence, but they stuck with it. And it's so satisfying to see us go from that moment as a 1-10 team getting pushed around to the type of team that we built with those guys sharing the lion's share of the credit of creating that culture, of sticking with it. And we needed that all this season, particularly in the Patriot League, and to send these guys off with a 4-2 finish and second in the conference is really special and gratifying for me as a coach.
And especially against Colgate. Bucknell has only beaten Colgate back-to-back years, early 60s, mid-90s. That's it. And to win for the first time since 2006 here at Christie, Colgate never did lay down. They never gave up. You knew they wouldn't. And that has to be satisfying against such a great tradition-rich program like Colgate, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that we did it in beating Lehigh again. I remember the last time we beat both in the year was I think you told me it was the first time in 38 years or something that Bucknell had beaten Lehigh and Colgate in the same season, and we did it again here. Lehigh wound up, winning the championship since we were their only loss in conference, but it was really satisfying to turn around and say, hey, we beat the Patriot League champs, and I think that'll be their 12th trip to the playoffs, and hopefully that'll be us next year.
Let's talk about next year before we let you go, Coach Cicchini. This Bison team does lose a lot of great seniors. Hopefully Ralph Rucker will decide to come back. We'll see as the year goes along. However, a lot of guys are coming back, and this is going to be a team to be reckoned with next year, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, if we can stick together, if guys decide and to make that chance, Ralph has that opportunity, and in this day and age of NIL and basically the way things work for football players or just really any student athlete this day and age, but particularly for football and men's basketball, there is going to be temptations to go out there and chase some money, and very, very different than if you and I were sitting here having this conversation, when I first got this job back in 2019. But that's unfortunately, the game has changed, and what you need to do to keep players here, and hopefully we'll be able to do those things to keep the players that we need to be here, because we do have a special group of guys that if they do decide to stick and finish their eligibility here at Bucknell, I think there's a good chance that that's going to be us hoisting that trophy a year from now.
I agree. Hey, again, I mentioned during our ESPN Plus broadcast, people don't, I ain't go into details, but people have no clue what this team and this coaching staff has gone through this year. Some do, some don't, most don't. What you all have done, I don't know if you'll be named the coach of the year for a second straight time, but you're our coach of the year, Coach Cicchini. Great job by you and those guys and all those men that don the orange and blue.
Oh, thanks, Doug. And again, I've had a great coaching staff, and yeah, we've gone through our share of adversity, as have our players. And that's what makes moments like these, even more special, because of the way that they've earned it and weathered that storm and come out to the end successful, and they've got a year that they certainly can be proud of.